Thank you for coming to this webinar. I propose we wait a little bit to have all our attendees on board. We should start in 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, so now we are about 52 people already connected. So I propose we start. Welcome everyone. Very happy to be on this webinar with you. So my name is Fabienne Davron. I'm coming from the Aerospace Valley cluster. I am very happy to organize this webinar with my colleagues from Germany, so Maybrit from Hamburg Aviation, and from Spain, Anna, that from EGAN. And we are also very happy to have on board 3 Eureka Eurostars representatives. So Jeanne Andrade from BPI France, from France, Stéphanie Bartels from Germany, DLR, and Luis Tejero from CDTI in Spain. We have been collaborating between our 3 clusters. Next slide, please, Valentine. And Valentine also, of course, Valentine from Aerospace Valley, who is my colleague in the European desk and will support us of any technical issues I hope we won't have, of course. So first, before presenting the agenda, I would like to ask all attendees to raise that question. If you have any question to ask during the presentation, you will have the opportunity to write your question in the question section of the tool, and we will have a dedicated time to address all the questions. So please feel free to ask your question in written, please. We won't open the mic because we are numerous today, because we have about 120 people registered for this webinar. So some words about the agenda. So the cluster will do a sort of introduction to explain this webinar story. Then we will leave the floor to our Eureka Eurostars representative. The general presentation of the call will be done by Stéphanie from DLR. Then Luis will take the floor to introduce with national eligibility rules and financial consideration. And the final word will be given to Jeanne from France for recommendation and tips. We will have a question and answer session. So again, feel free to raise your questions. And then next steps and conclusion by the clusters. Okay, so now to explain a little bit about the story and the history of this webinar. This webinar is organized by the EACP network. So what is EACP? It's a European Aerospace Cluster Partnership. So it's a network of 45 European aerospace clusters. And the aim of this network is really to foster collaboration within our clusters, to exchange knowledge, and to do also joint projects to strengthen the Europe global competitiveness of the aerospace sector. We are all working on aeronautics, space and drones. Some are only on aerospace, and others are on the 3 industrial sectors. The aim of the network is also to promote long-term transnational cooperation And we are working on different working groups. So there is one working group for international issues, for example, one working group for supply chain and technology. And this webinar is organized within the working group synergies. We are animating with Maybrit from Hamburg Aviation. What here are the objectives of our working group synergy is really to maximize the participation of innovative SMEs in Europe in European funding programs. We will consider that we are all gathering a lot of innovative SMEs within our clusters, and the idea is really to connect each SMEs, well, all the most high number of SMEs on European projects. And we want also to encourage partnerships and resource sharing on innovative projects. So as I said, Maybrit and myself, we are the leaders of these working group synergies, but we are working with 12, in total, we are 12 clusters working in this working group synergy. So you have a list here on the slide. Just to introduce the Aerospace Valley cluster. So we are located in the southwest of France, in the region of Toulouse and Bordeaux. So you see here on the map. We have a total of 858 members and a very high number of SMEs, around 600 SMEs. And we have labeled and supported 1,000 innovative projects in the cluster since we were created in 2005. We just celebrated our 20th birthday this year. What are the thematics we are working on? You can see on the right side of the slide. We have different thematics. We are working on industry of the future, so robotics, for example, for industry. We are working on structures, material, and manufacturing processes. We are also working on propulsion, new propulsion and embedded energy, and we are working on embedded systems, of course, which is a very high, a very large sector for us in the Aerospace Valley. And of course, I didn't say it, but at the center of the circle, we are working on aeronautics, space, and drones. And we have also sort of transversal thematics. We are working on defense issues, also on environmental transition and digital transition. So the twin transition in the European sense. And we have also a team dedicated to skills and competencies. And for European issues, so we have our European desk. So I'm working with Valentine and also two other colleagues. We have a generic email address, and the aim of the European desk for us is really to support our members to reach European fundings. Now I leave the floor to Maybrit to introduce Hamburg Aviation.
Thank you, Fabienne. Yeah, pleasure to be here and give a brief overview about Hamburg Aviation. So Hamburg is, of course, a city in northern Germany. We are one of the biggest civil aviation sites. So we have a workforce of over 48,000 people working in aviation at more than 300 companies. Just to give a quick overview of our ecosystem, two of our founding members are Airbus and Lufthansa Technik. Airbus with the A320 family here, as well as the Competence Center for Cabin. Lufthansa Technik as one of the market leader and MRO. So these are some of the topics we are covering, but of course, most of the companies, we have a really big net of suppliers and SMEs here, covering basically the whole value chain. What I didn't put here on the slide, we also have a very growing view from drone and UAM companies. So this is another topic we are working on. And also research and innovation is very big here with the Saal Center for Applied Aeronautic Research, a lot of universities, DLR institutes, and we also have our own funding program here in Hamburg called GATE, Green Aviation Technologies. So that's something I'm also working on here in the cluster. I'm also responsible for international affairs. So yeah, we are very happy to work in this working group synergies, and also as the coordinator of the EACP overall. So yeah, here on the slide you can find my contact details, and then I'm happy to hand over to Anna from Eureka.
Thank you, Maybrit. Okay, welcome. Thank you for attending this webinar. I will give a brief presentation about the Basque Aerospace Cluster. As you know, the Basque region is a small region in the north of Spain, and today we are the smallest cluster than the Hamburg and Aerospace Valley. So more or less the figures are we employ more than 17,000 people, and with a turnover of almost 3,500 million euros. And now more or less we have 79, maybe 80 members today in EGAN, more than 40 RSMEs. And we have global facilities with more than 170 facilities over the world. We represent the third aerospace pool in Spain. The first one is Madrid, and the second one is Andalusia, in the south of Spain. And we cover, we have some tier 1, and we cover since the design to the certification of some components and sub-assemblies for aeronautics and space sectors. So we are very, very intensive in R&D, and we have almost 2,500 people involved in some collaborative projects. We have last year we had 240 collaborative projects, and we have very intensive in auto-financing R&D projects, because we have more than 80% of the financing is for the company. So with this webinar and other initiative, we try to cut some more funding for European for these collaborative projects. And we have 5 with challenge, the supply chain, the competitiveness of our supply chain, the R&D, the internationalization, people and talent, and influence of our cluster. And we work on the digitalization and sustainability for improve our competitiveness. And I think it's all. We have more information, all information on our web page. And I think now we continue with our colleagues from Eurostars. So I pass the floor to Stephanie Bartels from DLR. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna. It's a pleasure that we have the opportunity to present Eurostars here to you, representing again some networks that involve a lot of innovative SMEs, and this is actually the main target group of the Eurostars program. There are 3 of us, as has already been mentioned, Luis from Spain and Jeanne from France and me. We will all together present the Eurostars program with some general introductions, focus on national criteria and considerations. And finally, we will give some recommendations and tips for a successful participation in this program. Next slide, please. So I represent the German Aerospace Center, but not as a research institute, but as an employee of the project management agency within the DLR, which is the contact point for Eurostars in Germany. And the funding for German participants comes from the BMFTR, which is the Federal Ministry of Research, Technology and Space. Eurostars addresses innovative SMEs in collaborative research. It can be considered as the world's biggest multilateral funding program for this target group for SMEs. It involves 37 participating countries from all over the world, including, for example, Canada, South Africa, Singapore, and others. We have an anticipated public-private investment each year of 250 million euro, meaning that public funding and private investment of 250 million euro are involved in newly starting projects each year. Eurostars funds on average about 680 organizations each year, and the success rate for applicants is rather attractive, with 25% of applications receiving funding. Okay, next slide. Here is the list of the 37 countries that are participating in the Eurostars program. I also mentioned the EU because the EU, the Union, is co-funding the Eurostars program, which means that the EU finances the central secretariat and the evaluation costs for the applications, but the funding for the participants, for the projects, comes from the national and sometimes also regional organizations, which at the end will also receive a kind of a top up from the EU to ensure common engagement in this very interesting program. Eurostars already exists since 2008 and has a long track record and is already known as a very reliable and good working program. So this is the list of participating regions and countries. But I have to underline that in some calls, not all of these countries participate. So it may happen that a certain country says, well, we step out for one call and then come back at the next one. There are 2 deadlines each year, 2 calls with a cutoff date until which applications can be submitted. The next one starts at the 16th of January with a deadline for submission on the 19th of March 26. And we try to be very fast within this huge network, which is possible due to a central evaluation process. And on average, we manage to evaluate and assess the application so that they can start approximately 8 months after the submission date. Next slide, which is already my last one, but I think one of the most important ones. What you have to understand is the principle of Eurostars is it is an international or multilateral program. That means all Eurostars projects involve partners from at least 2 participating countries, but it is not an EU program. There is EU money involved, but it's not organized in the way like the EU programs and schemes. There is an international phase, which is the submission and the evaluation of the applications, and there are some general rules and eligibility criteria that all Eurostars projects have to comply. But as I said, for the successful evaluated applications, the funding comes from is decentralized and comes from the funding involved funding bodies. So there might be differences in the national funding rules and so on, and then also in the procedure, which will later on explain Louis. I will only sum up here the central eligibility criteria for all Eurostars projects. First of all, every Eurostars project must be led by an innovative SMEs from a Eurostars country. The SME definition is the one from the EU that you might know. An innovative SME is for us an SME that is involved in an innovative project. The second one is that there have to be at least 2 independent entities involved in a consortium and at least 2 Eurostars countries to make it an international collaboration. The Eurostars SMEs involved in a project must be responsible for at least 50% of the project budget. So we really want the SMEs to do the job and to do the main part of the job, because it's their program, it's our main target group, and it's not addressing research commission to research organizations only, although these, of course, can participate also in the project. To have a good equilibre of work done, we want no single partner to do more than 70% of the work. So we really want to have a real international collaboration with all partners having an important task and contribution to the project. The projects should be not longer than 36 months, because we want to have fast projects, innovative projects, aiming at new technologies, and which should, if possible, be very fast on the market after completion of the project. Last but not least, and this is a very important point, that the projects should have exclusively a civilian purpose. This is very much discussed all over the world right now, and also in our network. There might be a change, but because also the EU has already kind of opened up here to other kind of purposes, but currently, the civilian purpose has to be followed, let's say. So the funding conditions can vary from country to country, and it is a national funding body that decides, for example, which organization can receive the funding, which projects, activities can be funded, which is the maximum funding amount, and what are the funding rates. And I think that was it from my side, and I will give the word to Louis.
So thank you very much, Stephanie. Good morning, everyone. Many thanks to the aerospace cluster to organizing this webinar and inviting us. As already mentioned, I'm MPC for Eurostars at the National Funding Agency in Spain, which is CDTI. And in this second section, I will focus on national aspects and consideration. As mentioned by Stephanie previously, this program is decentralized in funding, meaning that each entity must be funded according to its country rules, its country procedures and criteria. Therefore, we will always be operating at 2 levels. We have the international eligibility level, so how the consortium is composed and designed, and the international consideration, which are the 7 eligibility criteria that Stephanie already mentioned. But here we will, and the second layer is the national criteria. So in this slide, you can see a resume of the main considerations you must be aware of when start preparing a proposal from the national perspective. From one side, we have the national eligibility criteria, meaning what type of entities are eligible in each country, which is not the same. What, for example, financial conditions are required to your entity. Very important, the calendar that the national funding agency must require, which impact on the starting of the project, or at least the starting of the entity task in the international project, and other requirements. But also you must be aware of the national funding, which also vary from country to country. And here we refer to the grant intensity, but also the cost categories, the maximum grant per participant or per project. Also, we might have subcontracting limitation, or even the type of cost. If you pass next slide, please. So here is a summary of the eligibility and funding conditions from the 3 countries participating in this webinar, but of course we can do the same exercise for the 37 countries involved in the partnership in the Eurostars program. We will have an overview of the main condition for each of the 3 countries here, but of course we recommend you to go and see the details. So for example, in terms of type of entities, of course SMEs, small medium enterprises, are welcome, are eligible in all countries, not only us but the 37, because as Stephanie mentioned, is the target of this Eurostars program. But you might have other kind of entities also eligible in the different countries. For example, in Germany, academia, meaning universities or research organizations, can be also eligible if an SME participates, a German SME participate in the consortium. And other entities can also be eligible. For example, in France, we have the large entities possibility to be included in this Eurostars program, given some specific consideration of type of entities. Also, as I said before, the funding rate might vary from country to country, from type of entity. So we can have from 30% out of budget to 100% for the research entities. But the grant is also a maximum volume of grant per participant or per project according to each national funding conditions. So this is important when you design your project, the number of members per country in your project, how the grant will be distributed, and you must be aware of these limitations. Activities are also, let's say, differs from country to country. Of course, we all support research and development activity, which is the target and the main activities proposed by participants, but we might have some limitations. For example, in Spain, we don't support communication, dissemination, or exploitation activities. And in German, for example, clinical trials are not supported. So this is something that you have to precisely look into the publications, and in case of doubts, of course, you can come to us and clarify your specific situation. So next slide, please. Yeah, here you can see the progress and the main workflow of an international application from deadline to approval, which lasts approximately 3 months. So the main interaction from the international consortium will be with Eureka Secretariat in the different evaluation steps. But there are 2 moments in which the national funding entities, so our agencies, we might get and it might have an interaction with your entity. From one side, we have the legal and financial viability check. If you click the button now, so in this step from the agency, we will review and we will check the eligibility of our participants of our country, if they comply with the national rules. And after our agencies have reviewed these applicants of each call, the question will be if a consortium all partners of the consortium will be eligible to participate. If we find one of the partners that are not eligible, the proposal will get an unqualified in this very soon step, and the proposal will not continue. So here project proposal cannot propose change of consortium or conditions. So unfortunately, the proposal will stop here. This is why it's very important that each participant knows very well the conditions at national level. And in the second step, if you succeed and you get the approval from Eureka, we will proactively contact each participant in order to activate our national procedure to grant and allocate our commitment public fund to your entity. So for each country is a different procedure. It's not a new evaluation, it's the way we have to grant you with the committed public fund. But of course, it can take a few weeks in some countries to a few months in other countries. But at that moment, as I said, we will proactively contact you, and you must follow our indications, of course. Next slide, please. So main recommendation is go to Eureka webpage, and of course to our ministry or national funding agency to get aware of our conditions. Everything is published. You can explore all these national specificities, and you can also subscribe to our monthly newsletter at national level, or even on Eureka to get all update, and you can follow us to our social networks. Next slide. And in case you have doubts, we recommend you to contact Eureka Secretariat to this email in case you have any doubt at international level, or especially on the electronic platform. And at national level, you can also contact us. In some cases, we have some orientation services that can support you on a preliminary phase to see if your project matches to this program or not. But in any case, you can contact us in this mailbox to clarify any doubt you may have. So this is all from my side, and I give the floor now to my colleague, Jan. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. My name is Jeanne Andrade. I work in the innovation department of BPI France. and I'm in charge of the Eurostars program. So the BPI France is the national funding body, and I'm going to explain to you now what recommendations we would give and some tips we would give you to support you in your application to ensure a smooth process. So first, if you look at the application process, when you prepare your application, the first thing you need to have in mind is the legal and financial viability check that was explained just earlier. Next slide, please. Yes, so just some administrative tips for this part. As Luis mentioned just before, you should always contact your national funding body prior to applying, because that is what's going to ensure that you will pass the LFVC, so the legal and financial viability check. The reason is that, as it was mentioned, the program is not exactly an EU program. The funding comes from the national authorities. So we need to make sure that applicants from our country are eligible to the funding we provide, that they understood well what kind of funding we will provide, the eligible expenses, etc., etc. So to ensure that the LFVC process goes smoothly, always contact your NFB. That's also an occasion to get some additional support, because some of us can offer you some tools to help you prepare your application. It can be advice, it can be a dedicated webinar, for example, just any sort of support you can get from your national authorities. So if you contact us well in advance, we can help you way more than if you do it 48 hours before applying. And that's also the occasion to know more about maybe the documents that you will need to provide, because as it was mentioned, the eligibility criteria, the funding criteria are not the same depending on the country. So although the leader of the consortium can really coordinate the application on an international level, the specific details on a national level, you will need to ask your NFB. And so at this step, for example, if we need some additional documents to assess your situation and make sure that you're eligible, we will ask for it. Make sure that each participant, sorry, can we go back to the slide? Yeah. Make sure that each participant of your consortium contacts their national funding body. So do not only do this for yourself, but really make sure that your the participants that will form the consortium with you are doing the same. The reason is that during the LFVC process, let's say that you have a France, Germany, Spain consortium. If in Germany and Spain, the applicants contacted DLR and CTTI and they got approval, so the LFVC is passed easily. But in France, the French partner did not contact us, and when we assessed their financial eligibility, we realized that they're not eligible, so we will reject their application, and then the whole application will be rejected. So if one of the participants did not comply with this process, then it could actually endanger the whole consortium. So really make sure that everyone is on the same page. And finally, read the platform guidelines thoroughly. So we gave you the link. You will get the slides. It's also available in the Eureka Eurostars library. But basically, you have all the platform guidelines just to make sure that you know how it functions and you don't encounter last-minute problems because you have any logistical issues, for example. So just make sure that you do that in advance. Next, we can help you understand how to pass the technical evaluations. The technical evaluation, there are two steps. The remote evaluation, where 3 experts will assess the application. And then if you pass both this step and the legal and financial viability check, you will be evaluated again by the independent evaluation panel. So how to better your chances of success? Next slide, please. Yes, so the Eurostars application will be evaluated according to 3 criteria. So the quality and efficiency of the implementation, the market and commercialization, and the innovation, research and development. So basically, the first criteria means that we need to see that your consortium is well balanced, that the participants complement each other, that there is added value of the collaboration, that it is also, let's say, sound, that you assessed the risk of the collaboration, the participation of each member. Basically just show how robust and solid the collaboration is. Then the market and commercialization, the jury is going to assess how you studied the market that the application is targeting, even though it is an R&D application, but then after that you need to reach the market. So the jury will need to see how you evaluated the size of the market, the trends of the market, the growth, how you're going to penetrate this market, what is your commercialization plan, and also the impact of your application. So of course the market impact, but also social economical impact. So this part is going to be quite a big one. And then finally, the excellence of your innovation. This one will really rely on evaluating the degree of innovation. So is it a disruptive innovation? Is it an incremental? In Eurostars, it doesn't have to be disruptive innovation or deep tech. There is room for both, but you are competing with many projects. So you need to explain how the degree of innovation that you propose is going to be a suitable solution for the market and the needs. You will also need to explain the risks of your innovation, your methodology, etc., etc. So these are the 3 criteria that are going to be evaluated. Next slide, please. Yeah, so how to prepare your application. First, you should really take enough time to apply. In France, we typically suggest at least 2 months before the deadline to start preparing. It can take less time in some cases, and of course you can take way more time. It depends if you need to look for partners, if you already have a project in mind, what is the project goals, also the legal frame you will need to negotiate with your partners. So all of that are key criteria that you want to have time to work on. Then on your approach, the jury will want to see an ambitious approach, because we want to fund projects that are going to be beneficial to the market and improve the level of innovation. But you should also remain realistic. So not being arrogant, but still being ambitious, while having data and tangible facts to really prove what you're saying. And that goes with the last tip, which is to set clear, measurable, and verifiable targets to really help bring credibility to your application. Next slide, please. Some best practices that we can give you. So first, the key point, obviously, in a collaborative program is to find the right partner. There is one tool that you can use, which is the Enterprise Europe Network. It's a network that is present in more than 60 countries. So it's not only in Europe, which is good because Eurostars doesn't only cover Europe. And you can post an anonymous expression of interest to explain that you have this type of technology, this type of project, and you're looking for a partner in a Eurostars project. And you can also consult other expressions of interest. And this is going to be intermediated by your local points. So Enterprise Europe Network covers multiple agencies across all countries, and you will have a sort of counselor that will help you navigate those expressions of interest. So here you will find the link to find your local contact point, and then you can contact that person and explain to them your needs in order to find the partner. Then regarding the application form, it's not very long. You have the 3 parts that I mentioned before, and then a few questions for each part. The thing is that many applicants don't read the application form guidelines, but these are very detailed, and they will give you exactly the expectations for each question. So instead of starting to write your answer to the different questions, really read this document first, because it will give you a structure and it will give you an idea of exactly what the jury is looking for. So same thing, you have the link. And finally, you have frequently asked questions document that you can find on the Eureka Network website. And this one is very thorough and has really dozens of questions. So while you contact your NFB, also make sure that you check this one first, because it will help you understand also more about the program and probably give you a lot of answers. Okay, next slide, please. And I think that is good for my part. Yeah, okay, and I will give back the floor then. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jeanne. Also, thank you, Stephanie, Luis, and Jean for this presentation. So now we can go to the questions, because we have several questions raised on the according to what we say at the beginning, and still, if attendees want to raise again the question, feel free to do it. Huh? We have, I think, about 10 to 15 minutes to address this point. So the first question is about the dual use. You mentioned, Stephanie, civilian purpose only. So does that mean that dual use technologies are not okay for Eurostars?
So I strongly, in this situation where everything is still a bit under discussion, I strongly recommend that in your, you have, together with the application, you have to submit an dissemination plan, an exploitation and commercialization plan, and I would recommend to focus here on civilian applications, or not only to focus on, but only to mention civilian applications. The proposals will be assessed on the basis of what is written in the proposal and what is your aim to achieve in the project. We will of course not have a look at the company, and if you have also, I don't know, clients that are from the military sector, this is of course not a problem, and everybody knows that radars and how do you call it in English? Well, some flying objects like Drohnen in Germany. UVM, isn't it? Unmanned
aircraft.
Human, yeah, yes. Can also be used for other applications than civilian ones. This does not mean that you will be rejected, but clear military applications are for the time being not eligible for Eurostars.
Okay.
But we are aware that there are technical results that can have a potential dual use, of course.
Okay.
I hope that answers your
Very
question.
clear. I think so, but if not, please feel free to ask again. For me, it looks clear. Okay, the second question deals with the TRL, technological readiness level. You mentioned that Eurostars starts at TRL 6 up to TRL 9. Can you please confirm and maybe elaborate a little bit about this? I don't know if it's Stephanie. I think Stephanie.
I hope I haven't said that, because that is far too close to the market. Due to the fact that Eurostars projects are funded by national money, we as funding organizations have to apply the EU state aid rules and ensure that there is still competition among countries. And so we are not allowed to fund above TRL 8, definitely. and some countries have different rules concerning this, because it can be quite complicated. If you go the higher, the closer to the market you fund, the lower the funding intensity must be. And in Germany, for example, we only fund until TRL 7. Yeah,
Okay.
but TRL 9 is definitely not possible.
No, okay, maybe it's a bit a confusion maybe in presenting the Eurostars program. Can we agree on starting TRL is definitely the TRL 6? Is it fine for your team, or?
Well, in most cases, the partners already have a feasibility, made some first developments, or it is an existing product already which they want to improve. So it's not basic research, so there already has to be something, because you only have 3 years time, and then we expect you to go on the market after 2 years. So it is very often that it's already based on a given basic technology or existing product or service or process. So that should be TRL 5, something like that.
Okay. Maybe
point.
this reflects with the national authority when starting the
project.
Okay.
Maybe to complete what Stephanie said, indeed, for not all the countries are referring to TRL when they evaluate the expenses, because you can have sort of different classifications. So Eurostars, the jury does not also have a strict TRL assessment. If you consult the FAQ, you'll see that they say you can start around maybe a TRL 4 and then end up at TRL 7, but this can really depend on the project. We have projects that will last 3 years and then really need 2 years to commercialization, and others will just need 1 year of R&D and can be much quicker. So I would suggest for the French participants at least that you consult us about your project, and we will assess the expenses that you would need to accomplish. And in France, for example, we don't refer to TRL, but we refer to the level of R&D and the kind of expenses you will detail.
Okay.
Fabienne, I can't
yes, well taken. So this is really key to contact. Oh, sorry. You hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yes, I said it's really key to contact a national funding body when starting a project to check all these points in terms of TRL and expenses eligibility. I have another question, which is for the French part. Is it possible to combine Eurostar grant with Crédit Impôt Recherche? This is a French specificity.
Yes.
So how is it eligible to Crédit Impôt Recherche?
No, it's not. You will need to deduct the Eurostars grant from l'assiette du crédit d'impôt recherche. So okay. No, you need to be careful about this one.
Okay, thank you. Another question deals with okay, I'm reading the question. Does Eurostar funding block or prevent overfundings from other programs? Yeah, that means that can you combine overfundings to the same project? Maybe, I don't know if I'm understanding well the question. The question is, does Eurostar funding block or prevent overfundings from other programs, or vice versa?
I can try to answer that question. You can definitely not receive funding from other sources for the same project. But of course, you can receive funding for other projects in parallel. This doesn't block it, but not for the same one. This is definitely excluded due to the state aid rules.
Okay.
Yeah, I can maybe complement this one. The case of Spain is exactly the same as Stephanie. We cannot, the participant cannot use double funding from different sources because we are already used the maximum intensity we can provide to these kind of projects. Also in Spain, for example, an applicant can only request for one public fund per project in each call. So if you submit 2 proposals, we will ask the participant for which one are you requesting the grant, and the other one you will have to self-fund your activity. So this is per cutoff, and this is something particular for Spain maybe.
Okay, thank you. There is one question regarding evaluation criteria. You mentioned, Jean, the three criteria. Can you give us the balance between the criteria? Is there one criteria stronger than another, or is it?
No. The criteria, they all weigh the same. So that's also an additional tip I can give, is that in some applications we see that the excellence part is really well developed because maybe it's more intuitive to develop this as it is an innovation program, innovation contest. But do make sure that you also consider very thoroughly the impact aspect and the quality of the implementation aspect. Because you really need to succeed in the 3 criteria if you want your application to pass the evaluation. So all 3 will have to be considered.
Okay, thank you, Jeanne. So I would have one question personally. Do you have an average size of Eurostars proposal in terms of consortium, in terms of number of partners? You have some average numbers on the size of the consortium, on the size of the budget. Do you have any trends, any average trends in that?
Yes, we have. It's of course only a trend because maybe I haven't said that so explicitly. Eurostars is as flexible as possible. Only the eligibility criteria have to be met, as I said, but in general, the consortia are free to involve as many participants as they like and as many countries, and also, of course, it is also flexible with regard to the technology that you are addressing. So we have laser projects, manufacturing, biotech, everything. But according to the statistics, the average Eurostars project is rather small, with involving 2 to 3 countries and 5 to 6, or not even 4 to 5 partners. I think this is because the projects are very much focused on a specific topic and specific technology, and you really need the right partners to collaborate. And of course, the multilateral character leads maybe also to the fact that it is easier to manage if you involve only 2 or 3 countries, because the funding conditions are different.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. And my colleagues cluster, if you have questions, feel free to raise them. Huh? It's time. Yes, my other question concerns the check of the solution in the market. You said that the Eurostars address really ready to be commercialized solutions very fast. Do you perform any check on that after the end of the project, or is there any conditions about it?
Maybe I can take this one. So it is true that the program is market oriented. So as Jen already explained, in the application form, you must justify how your results will fit the market in the coming years. So we are talking about deployment, applied research. So we have a lot of business questions in the application form that you need to justify very well, but there is no mandatory criteria that projects must comply with the entry into market. In Eurostars 2, if I remember correctly, there was a criteria saying that results must enter into the market in 2 years' time, but in Eurostars 3, we are a bit more flexible. Of course, it depends on the market, it depends on the technology. It's not the same to obtain a biotech or a health medical device that software. So each result, each product must have its own commercialization and time to market, and it must be coherent with their activity and with their sector. At the end of the project, we will, from the Eureka, we will request end of project report. So we will monitor how the proposal, the international consortium perform, and how are they introducing those results, and what is the impact generating in the program. But it is not mandatory to have a specific timeline for entering to the market. However, it's a evaluation criteria, so my suggestion is to be coherent and to be ambitious, as Jan already mentioned.
Okay, thank you very much, Liz. One question coming from the audience. For large entity in other countries than France, does the self-funding work is considered in the total budget?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question really well. Could you?
So for large entities in other countries than France, so here we are with Germany and Spain, does the self-funding work is considered in the total budget?
Yes. So if you are a participant in the consortium, so let's say again France, Germany, and Spain, it doesn't matter if you are self-funding or if you are asking for national funding, as long as at least one of the participants in the consortium is going to receive funding. So you, other than this criteria, you will be treated, I would say, exactly the same in terms of the budget being taken into account. However, for large entities, so your budget will be considered in the total, which also means that that's where you need to be careful about the SME criteria to make sure that the weight of the SMEs in the consortium respect the criteria. But other than this, it will be the same.
Okay, thank you, Jeanne. I will have one latest question. It's about the starting date of the project, because you said that there was some national decision to be taken to fund and so on. You have again an average time duration between the formal approval of the proposal and the starting date of the project, where all national funding bodies have agreed on the approval of the planning of it.
This is something I mentioned in my presentation, and yeah, it's because a national rule we have that Spanish entities must start their activities in the Eurostars project in a specific frame time. So we normally provide this information to our Spanish participant prior to the submission of the application. And for example, for the next call of March 2026, we suggest to start projects from July, which is just after the international evaluation results are published, and to allow participants also have time to prepare and follow the national procedure. So we always try to suggest this starting date according to the national calendar.
Okay, thank you very much. And sorry for the repetition of the information. So I think we do not have any more questions, so we can just go to the next final slide. So yes, for the next step. So just to let you know that Jeanne mentioned the Enterprise Europe Network as a local contact point, but we also, as a cluster, we can be your contact point for any question regarding this program. So feel free to contact Anna, Maybrit, or myself if you are interested to submit a proposal in this call, in the coming call next year. We can help you on that. We can also help you on understanding better the rules and also finding your partners in the countries. So we are here, the 3 countries, France, Spain, and Germany. But as I said at the beginning, we are a very big network of 45 clusters in Europe, in I don't know how many countries, maybe you know that better than me, but it may be, I think, above 15 countries. And so, yes, you have plenty of possibility to find European partners for your project, so feel free to come back to this. So what we will do in the coming months, for up to the end of the year, we will come back to you also about this call to see if you are interested to submit, if you are preparing a project that could be eligible for this year Eurostars call, and then we can help you again to understand the rules and so on, and to also to connect with the funding national. And at the beginning of next year, then we are all committed to support your proposal preparation. So checking helping you to frame the project objectives, because we are all we have all experts on aerospace and drones technologies in our cluster, so we can help you on that. And of course, as I said, we can help you to find your European partners for your project. So if you are interested, feel free to come back to us, and we will try to help you. Just to precise that this webinar has been registered, so you can come back to the link to come back to this webinar if you want to. We will also send the slides to all the participants. And I think that's all for today, except if you want to raise other points. So I would like to
thank you, Fabienne. I have maybe one more thing. Of course, today we talked about the Eurostars, but if you were here today and you thought, okay, maybe this is not the right program for me, you can still contact us as the clusters, because of course we are also looking into other funding programs, and we would still appreciate if you let us know that you have a specific idea or you want to work on something. Maybe we can try to find another funding program which might be a better match. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to say, because we are working on this in the working group. So.
Great.
Yes, the same for EGAN cluster. I think some companies today attending the webinar are not from EGAN, but are from other regions in Spain, and they have other clusters for helping this initiative, collaborative projects, and the same as Maybrit. I think we can select some ideas for these programs or others, and we can find the good partners inside and among the EICP clusters.
Thank you, Anna. So thank you, Stephanie, Luis, and Jeanne. It was a pleasure. I hope there will be several aerospace or drones proposal answering the Eurostars poll. And that's it for today. Thank you very much. Bon appétit to everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.